Okay. Hello, people. Welcome to our CallHub webinar here. We'll just give it a couple of minutes while people join, and then we can start up. I mean, we can begin now as you went, and I suppose people will join in as they can. But yeah, hello and welcome one and all to another CallHub webinar. Now, we here at CallHub, we host these webinars to spread some much needed information and assistance among our community so we can all better understand how to participate in democracy and how to bring about like positive change in the world, which is what we're all hoping for. So today's topic, as you're all aware, is how to use text messages for volunteer mobilization. Now, this is a crucial election year, as we know, and volunteer mobilization will be critical to get our messages across. And text messages are a pillar of that effort. I mean, in today's world, text messages are almost the most crucial way because most people do check their texts as opposed to, let's say, emails or even calls for that matter. And to help us to learn how to efficiently leverage our text messages for our various initiatives, our expert today is Rachel Gonzalez from the Brady organization. Now, Rachel comes with a wealth of knowledge from various initiatives, from being a Democratic delegate at the age of 17, Missouri's youngest ever, it seems, to working with a PAC and Netroots. She is a national organizing manager for Brady, which, as many of you may already know, is dedicated to ending gun violence in America, which is quite an uphill battle, but they have been at it and they have a plan. They have a very well thought through blueprint on how to achieve that. And you can have a look at that on their website if you want to. But we thought they would be a great expert for us to speak about initiatives and how to reach out to people. So, yeah, without further ado, please welcome Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to go through a little bit of background about Brady so you kind of get an idea of how we use the platform and then show you all the different ways, some examples as well of text messages that we have sent in the past to engage our volunteer base, to grow our volunteer base, or even educate people on bills that are happening in legislators across the country. I've been doing this work for a long time. I've mentioned, I was delegate at 17 and Missouri's youngest ever, and I've been with Netroots, I've been with a PAC, I've been with multiple campaigns, and I really love working at Brady and helping us in gun violence. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about Brady. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and run through a little bit about what we do here, and then get started on how we can help you be better with CallHub. Please bear with me one moment while I figure out how to share. Okay, perfect. So a little bit about Brady. We are about to celebrate our 50th Brady anniversary. We are one of the oldest and boldest gun violence prevention groups that is out there. Most of the people know us from our Brady Bill, which is the Brady Assault Weapons Ban, or the Brady Brady Background Check Bill, which unfortunately we are working to push for more background checks, and we've been part of some pretty incredible other bills that I'll talk about in this presentation. So sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to go to the next slide. Okay, there we go. So Brady works across Congress, the courts, and communities, uniting gun owners and non-gun owners alike to take action, not sides, in America's gun violence epidemic. I'd love to tell people we are a nonprofit and we are nonpartisan. So we work with people who are Republicans, Democrats, independents, pretty much anyone who wants to help us in gun violence. So that's why our main color here is purple. Our logo is the star right here. It has the red and the blue, like Republicans and Democrats, and then, of course, the purple that unites us. And we've been able to do some pretty incredible things under that scope. One of those things is last year we helped pass the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act in Congress. And one thing that the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act did was close what we call the boyfriend loophole a little bit. So if you're convicted of domestic violence, you cannot purchase a gun within 5 years of that conviction. And we did that with the help of 15 Republican senators, and we used a lot of CallHub tactics to really help educate people on that, encourage people to call their senators, and that kind of thing. So here are some of the facts that make us act here at Brady. We know that 97% of Americans want expanded background checks. We know that Americans kill each other with guns 25 times the rate of other high-income countries. Gun violence is estimated to cost the American economy at least $229 billion every single year. And we know things like 90% of guns used in crimes come from about 5% of gun dealers. So that's really telling us that those 5% of gun dealers are doing something wrong. Maybe they don't have adequate background checks. Maybe they are allowing straw purchases. Maybe they aren't flagging people who are purchasing multiple guns from them in a short amount of time. But whatever it is, our legal team and our policy team are getting to the bottom of it with our Crime Guns initiative to figure out how we can hold gun dealers accountable. We also know, unfortunately, every 16 hours, a woman is shot dead by her current or former partner, that 155% more people are shot in incidents where high capacity magazines or assault weapons are used. And every single day, 8 children and teens are shot unintentionally by family fire. So these children are getting a hold of a gun in their home, their babysitter's home, their friend's home. So we're encouraging parents to have those conversations and ask those questions. Do you have a gun in your home? And if you have a gun in your home, is that gun locked and stowed away so that my child cannot get a hold of it? So here at Brady, we have some incredible teams, and we use CallHub to help all of our different teams in different ways. So for example, we have our incredible legal team that is fighting cases across the country. One of those cases was a case that we took up against Cabela's in 2021 because Cabela sold a gun to someone that they knew would not pass a background check. And Brady sued on behalf of a family that was shot and killed using that gun. And won that family millions of dollars. So our legal team is doing a lot of work, and our policy team to help us understand the cases, also to help us understand the legislation that's going on in state legislators. There are gun bills currently in several across the country, and sometimes they're very confusing. I'm not a policy expert, so our legal and legislative teams are definitely helping us, and also helping with our grassroots, helping them understand what the bill means, what it does, giving them talking points, helping them write testimony if they want to go to their state capitol and testify, and all sorts of really great things. And sometimes we'll even send out text messages asking people if they will call their local state senator, state representative, if they would like to join a rally at the state capitol, if they'd like to lobby or to testify, that kind of thing. Our grassroots are pretty incredible. We have over 100 Brady chapters across the country, and some of them plan lots of rallies and protests, and others work a lot on policy and advocacy and lobbying. It really just depends. We kind of leave it up to our chapters and what kind of thing that they'd like to do. And then, of course, we have our In Family Fire initiative, which is all about safe storage, encouraging more people to have those conversations, and even encouraging doctors to have those conversations as well. So if you go to checkup, we encourage doctors to, ask, do you smoke? Do you drink? But also, do you have a gun in your home? And is that gun locked and stowed away? And then, of course, our Combating Crime Guns initiative, which is just getting to the bottom of where the guns are coming from and why some gun dealers end up selling more guns that are used in crimes. So we know that gun violence is a very complicated, complex situation that requires a comprehensive solution. So there are several things that we are trying to do here at Brady. We would love to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, outlawed 3D printed guns, sometimes called ghost guns. Those are incredibly dangerous because we don't know who has them. They do not have any serial numbers. There's no way to track them. Sometimes there are people that are underage that are able to print these 3D printed guns and put them together. Also, community-based programs, expanding background checks, banning accessories like bump stocks, extreme risk laws, gun industry oversight, and gun violence prevention research. And one thing that I didn't mention on our fact sheet that I showcased a few slides ago is that 75% of guns used in school shootings come from the home. So basically, 75% of school shootings can be prevented if more people follow safe storage protocols. So there are 4.3 million guns in the homes across the country that are unlocked and unsecured, and we'd like to encourage more people to make sure they're securing their guns. So we have, like I said, we have some incredible chapters all over the country. We have all sorts of different people involved: activists, survivors, youth, teachers, doctors, lawyers, faith leaders, and they are all doing some really incredible work. And we are supporting them using resources like our resource that we have with CallHub. And we also have a youth-led initiative called Team Enough. Team Enough is ages 13 to 26. It's our youth-led initiative of Brady. You might hear a little bit about it in my next few slides when I talk about some texts we have sent. We train young people to lobby, to testify. We help them understand lots of gun bills so that they become subject matter experts. And we also have paid internships here at Brady. So we're super proud about that. So if anyone's interested, you can follow us at Brady Buzz. We're on Facebook, Twitter. We're even on LinkedIn and Instagram, or you can visit our website for more information at bradyunited.org. But I'll just go ahead and tell you some common ways that Brady uses CallHub. So we use CallHub a lot to invite people in a certain area to an event. So we have a lot of people who sign up on our website, and it gets integrated into our Every Action, and CallHub has a really fantastic way that we can integrate Every Action onto the platform, and then we can really target those areas. So if I'm planning an event in San Francisco, California, I can figure out the people that I have signed up that are in, around 50 miles radius, and really just send those text messages so I'm not wasting my resources to those people in that area. And that is something that we do a lot here at Brady. Or we target it in different ways, such as if there's a bill happening in a certain state, of course, we're only going to target New Jersey if that bill is only in New Jersey. Or we can even make it smaller if we are pushing for one state senator or state representative to sign on to one of our bills. We can look at those zip codes within that district and figure out how we can send text messages to only those people and ask them to call their senator or their state representative. We also use it to gather survey responses. So a lot of times we'll have events. We have a new volunteer info session every Wednesday where we go through some of the slides that I previously mentioned and get people involved. We also have a healing circle that's every few months where people come on and they talk about people who have lost through gun violence, and they share stories, and it's really a place where we try to just have community. And a lot of times after those events, we will send out a survey asking people to rate whoever ran it, to rate how they felt during it, all sorts of different things. So that's one way that we utilize CallHub. Also to recruit new volunteers. So here at Brady, we are constantly growing chapters, and we have lots of people who have signed up in the past that maybe aren't super engaged, but if someone joins Brady and wants to start a new chapter in Detroit, Michigan, for example, one thing that we might do for them in the early stages is hold a recruitment event. So what I'll do is I will send out a text to anyone within, 50 miles of Detroit maybe, and say, exciting news, we have this exciting new chapter that just started in Detroit. We hope that you can join us next Tuesday on our Zoom call. Here's the link. So we can really recruit new volunteers, and that's been really successful for us because we've had some chapters that have gone from 5 people to 50 people just from using that resource and getting people engaged that way, because we have all these incredible people who have signed up in the past, but maybe they didn't want to start a chapter themselves. So they were waiting for someone to start it, and then they wanted to join. We also use CallHub to encourage people to take an action, such as calling and emailing their elected officials or signing a petition. That's something we have done a lot. We pushed a lot for the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and we did lots of sends surrounding that, asking people to sign petitions, asking people to contact their legislators, all sorts of things. And we've also do it a lot for the assault weapons ban as well. We also use CallHub to inform people in certain states where their gun-related bills are at committee, if they passed or failed, all those sort of things. We have weekly meetings with a lot of our state chapters to kind of give them the rundown. But for just anyone signed up, we might say, just want to let you know that SB 257 is out of the Health and Safety Committee and is now going to a floor vote, just so people feel like they are being informed and they know where the bills stand and they can kind of gauge how they want to take action that way. And then, of course, sending reminders about events people have already signed up for. Sometimes we plan events pretty far in advance, and people can forget if they signed up 3 months ago. So we typically will do something like a week before and like the night before as well, just so people remember to come to our event. Or we'll even use it to have people confirm. So we'll send out a text and it'll just be like, respond back yes if you confirm that you'll be attending tomorrow, so we can get accurate numbers, because a lot of times we will purchase food or bring t-shirts, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go into a few examples of texts that we have sent in the past. So here's an example of using CallHub to invite your list to an event. So the initial message would be something like, Team Enough here, want to attend the nationwide reading of Enough Plays to End Gun Violence at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts with us? Yes. Reply yes to take action. And if they reply yes, here's an example of a text that we would probably send back. And it would just be something like, we can't wait to see you there. Secure a spot in RSVP. And then it would have our link to RSVP. And if they have no or maybe, we also have a response for that, which is just, that's okay. If you want to learn more about the event, follow this link to visit Enough Plays website. And this is just an event that we did with this other organization called Enough Plays, that they put on plays that are specifically about ending gun violence. And they had a program at the Kennedy Center that we partnered with them. So we wanted to invite people to this event. And this is an example of a text that we would send to invite people. We also use it, like I said, for survey responses. So an initial message could be something like, hi, first name, it's Robert from Team Enough. We created a survey to gather the opinions of our members. We'll use your feedback to write our future policy plan. Do you have time to fill it out? And then if yes, awesome, click this link to respond. Thanks for taking the time to answer. If no, no worries. Thanks for letting us know. If you're interested, you can check out other events happening at, and here's our Brady Mobilize link. Also using CallHub to recruit new chapter members. Hi, first name, this is Rachel from Brady. Exciting news, we have a new Brady Delaware chapter and we'd like you to join. Gun violence in Delaware is on the rise, but we have an opportunity to push for stronger, sensible gun laws. The Brady Delaware chapter is hosting a virtual meeting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, May 25th. Can you make it? And if they respond yes, we're looking forward to seeing you there. Feel free to text us if you have any questions. Don't forget to RSVP here for meeting details and then the link. And if no, that's okay. If you're still interested but unable to attend, please let us know. You can learn more about our work to end gun violence at bradyunited.org. We also hold weekly info sessions for new members every Wednesday. check out that event and much more here at Brady United. And then I think that was just from another survey response. But we've used CallHub in so many different ways, and here's another one. Encouraging actions such as calling and emailing electeds. So an initial message for that could sound something like, "Hi, this is Brady United Against Gun Violence. It's only May, and we've already seen dozens of mass shootings occur across the nation. Every day, more and more Americans are impacted by the gun violence epidemic. It's time for real, lasting, and meaningful change. Will you join me in emailing your senators to demand their support for assault weapons ban to be brought to a vote and reinstated?" And then we have, of course, our yes and no responses. And the great thing about CallHub is you can really customize it too. You can put more maybe responses. You can put responses for if they say something like, "How did you get my number?" And I'll talk about that in the next few slides as well. But for this case, the if yes is one bill that would be monumental in preventing mass shooting deaths is the assault weapons ban, which was recently reintroduced in the United States Senate. Take action by contacting your senators and demand they support the assault weapons ban. And then, of course, the link. If no, that's okay. We know you're busy. You can always learn more about our work to end gun violence at bradyunited.org. We also host weekly info sessions for new members every Wednesday. Check that out and much more here. And this is part 2. So like I said, a lot of people will send us text messages and ask, "How did you get this number?" And a lot of times this doesn't happen a lot really because we only use numbers that have signed up for our Brady website in the past, which sometimes they have changed. So if that's the case, we can just opt them out. So if someone says, "How did you get this number?" we might respond something like, "You interacted with Brady at some point, so your information was still on file. The fight to protect Americans from gun violence will require all of us. Are you still interested in joining the fight?" And if they say yes, we'll keep them on. If they say no or stop, we'll opt them out of the text messages. Also, people will ask things like, "How will calling make a difference?" If you call, your call will make a difference because Senate offices tally every call they receive in favor or against a bill. Members of Congress do not always listen to their constituents, but this is the first step in ensuring your voice is heard. And some people will also say, "My senator I know they're already voting for this bill," or "My senator is Ted Cruz. He's definitely not supporting this bill. So why should I call?" And we might say something like, "It may appear that your senators already have a strong stance on the issue. However, to pass this bill before the 2023 session ends," this is just an example that we've used in the past, "they must hear from a constituent like you. Your calls are critical to our mission to save lives." And here are some of my tips on hosting a successful text bank. So I definitely encourage you to create an event page on your platforms, any platform that makes sense for you. Brady utilizes Mobilize to do this a lot, but also sends out emails, encourages Brady chapters to share with their volunteers. You could also put it on your Facebook or your LinkedIn or your Twitter. There are also lots of volunteer pages that you might be able to put your text bank on as well. Volunteer Match comes to mind. You want to create a standing event in many cases so that people know what date and time they would like to come text bank. For a while here at Brady, we had a weekly text bank that was every Monday, and it was very successful. We had many returning bankers every single week because they knew that that was something that they wanted to do every week. So if you have a message that can stand for that long, I definitely encourage making some reoccurring meetings. Before the event starts, definitely take a few minutes to go through emails that signed up to add them to the CallHub campaign as agents, so you are not wasting time in your call doing this. You should also send your signups some instructions beforehand as well. And you'll want to watch the back end of your campaign, encourage people while on your Zoom. For example, you can put in the chat, "Wow, Bob is on a roll with 250 text sent. Looks like Lisa, Ken, and Barbie are also doing some great work too." You just want to be encouraging to all of your volunteers within the call so that they feel like their work is really meaningful and they are, doing an incredible job because they are. And a lot of our calls, we send 15,000 text messages just within the hour. So it really is incredible work that makes a huge difference. Also, it is helpful if you have two staffers on your Zoom call. One, to make sure that returning text bankers are okay and they are on as agents, and another to maybe help new text bankers and maybe go through a quick slide of, how to use the program. But you want to create those two rooms because you don't want to have that one room where you're really going through all these instructions and the people who have been there every single week have to hear that as well. That might be just a little bit annoying for them. So definitely, if you can, creating two rooms is very beneficial. And here are some other things. I always tell my text bankers that they do not need to worry about replies coming in later. One great thing about CallHub is that I can see on the back end all the responses and take those on myself if needed. Some people respond to a text right away. Others may take a few hours, so I will just go in and check myself occasionally. I do not want my text bankers to feel the need to monitor those responses. And sometimes my text bankers, they might feel discouraged too because they will say, I've sent 250 text messages, but no one has responded yet. And I let them know that some of the messages may not have gone through yet. People are probably busy. Sometimes it does take a few minutes or even a couple hours for people to see their text message and give us a response. Sometimes there are also responses that we did not write a script for, and in that case, I'd let the volunteer know that I can go ahead and respond to that text. Or if we're still on the Zoom and someone will put in the chat, I contacted this person and they said this, how do I respond? I might be able to put something in the Zoom chat of a response that would be appropriate. But if not, I let them know that I will take care of it later. And if any time someone sends a rude response, which is rare because we use a list of Brady supporters, I will opt them out from future messages. And so I would love to open it up to questions and see if anyone has any.
Thank you for that. That was interesting, Rachel. We do have some questions. One from Gail Davy, which he just posted right now, which I find pretty interesting, which is like, they're speaking about caller, but in general, like, I suppose a lot of people assume the fact that once you use a software or something to send text messages, why do you need text volunteers? Why do you need text bankers? And what is the role that they specifically play? Because I suppose that people assume the fact that, okay, you have these texts and you just click a button and 10,000 of them go out. What is the point of having text bankers then?
Yeah, so we definitely have ways in which we can send out texts a little bit faster, but I think the really great thing about holding a text bank and having text bankers is building a community. So for our text bankers, sometimes they are people who are volunteering with Brady for the very first time. So we get them to volunteer with Brady because we spread out this text bank that we were having, and they've come onto our Zoom. They really hear what we're about, and they join that community of those text bankers. And then we see them a lot on other meetings. Maybe they'll come to our new volunteer info session. Maybe they will actually join their local chapter. Maybe they will start writing op-eds that they found on our website to their local newspapers about ending gun violence. So it really is to build a community and really create that base. And a lot of times, honestly, people want to feel like they're doing something, like their work is meaningful. And I think that's a really great way to give volunteers an opportunity to create change. I could definitely go in and send all the text myself, probably if I wanted to, but that would take me a few hours. But if I gave volunteers an opportunity to do it, they definitely feel that they've made a difference, and that is really huge for me.
Okay. And when you say like, they come in and they do the work, like, so what they actually do is like you give them like certain sets of numbers, and I presume they just send out messages to those numbers and they also reply, or how does that work?
Yeah, so CallHub makes it super easy. We create a campaign on the CallHub platform. We have all the responses there ready to go. So our volunteers, all they have to do is log in and become an agent on our Call Hub campaign. And with really just a click of a few buttons, they're able to send out lots of text messages. And sometimes we don't give them a number. If I have my text bank from 12 to 1 o'clock, it's just, how many texts you can send within that time. I don't ever really tell my volunteers, oh, I want you to send out 250 text messages or 1,000 text messages. I sometimes just say, we have this text bank. If we get through all of it, that's perfect. That's great. And we can end the call, but there's no real goal of I want all of you to send 250 text messages, because that's sometimes a lot of pressure for volunteers. And I know that not all my volunteers can stay for maybe that whole hour. Some might be able to join us for 20 minutes, some might be able to join us for 40 minutes, and others, they might be able to join for the whole hour.
Yeah, and I suppose there is a difference between, let's say, mass texting and like peer-to-peer texting. Do you suggest we put up a lot of volunteers to, like, individually talk to voters, or is the mass texting more the line to go as such? In your experience, what you have seen?
I think peer-to-peer texting is so important. I want people to feel like they are being texted by a real person, and a lot of times when we are on the back end, we're able to give them real responses. Sometimes I'll even send out a few text messages and I'll have people share stories with me. They'll let me know, I lost my son to gun violence, I lost my aunt to gun violence, and I'm able to have those real life conversations with them through text by seeing those responses and replying. And if I just did a mass text, they might never see a real response from a real person. But this really allows me to have those conversations.
Okay, so we can send out like 10,000 messages in one click if we wanted to, but you say that it's better if you engage with people then.
Yes, I definitely think the engagement rate is higher when it's peer-to-peer texting,
Hmm.
just because people aren't feeling like they're talking completely to a robot, and they're making those connections.
Okay. Another one of the questions that we had was a question. Actually, that was pretty interesting also. In the sense of, how do you choose where you send these texts? Okay, you can take a location saying, all right, this district, so and so elected official in this particular district. But is there anything else we must consider? Because, especially in your case, I suppose, because gun violence, or at least gun control, is such a, I mean, it's a very divisive issue in the sense people are very fixed in like what they think about it. They are either yes or no. So, like, what kind of things do we look for if we're trying to like reach out to people other than their location?
Yeah, so we here at Brady, our text lists that we use are mostly people who have signed up on our website, who have engaged with us in the past. Maybe they have joined a past event, that kind of thing. So around 98% of the people that we text are already Brady supporters. So we aren't getting a lot of like mean responses or anything like that. But it's really up to you how you want to target it. We do location targeting a lot because it just helps us with our policy goals, or also planning an event. If I'm planning a protest in a certain city, I might want to just target that city and not use all of my resources to get a bigger scope than that.
Okay. Now, in CallHub and other similar platforms as such, there is of course the option of auto replies, in which like you can just send an automatic reply. Like, what has your experience been? Is it worth it? Should we set up auto replies? Because we can, like, the option exists, but like, how discreet should we be to like exercise that?
I think that auto replies can definitely be beneficial, especially if you're trying to save time, or you're sending out thousands of text messages when it wouldn't be feasible to have a response. But there are also a lot of responses that I maybe did not take into consideration would be coming in. So of course we got the yes or no replies, the maybes, but like I said, some people might share their story with me. They might say, I sent you an email and nobody was responding back. Or, I'd love to join a local chapter. In that case, I can get in there and let them know, oh, you are from Kansas City, Missouri. Let me connect you to your Kansas City, Missouri chapter.
Ah, okay. Fair enough. There's one couple other questions that I want to get to. One, okay, so there was a question about pricing. Now we shared a reply about what CallHub does in pricing, but To expand that a little more broadly, like how much of our budgets do you think that we should give up to texting? Is it, do you feel it like it is cheaper than, let's say, get out and vote or door to door knocking? But in general, like what do you think the budget should be?
Well, I think it definitely depends on the organization. If you are specifically a voting organization or working for a campaign, I think that those face to face conversations, canvassing, definitely probably will be more beneficial to you. But if you have a call hub platform that is connected to that, it can definitely help you as well. So if you're having this face-to-face conversation, you're signing up those people that you meet at the doors, and then you're able to re-engage with them using Call Hub. I think that is great. So you might have met them while you're at their door, but then you could send them a text later saying, we have this campaign kickoff event or this other canvassing event that you might be able to join us for. And it's a great way to re-engage with those people that you've already met. But if you are a
Yeah.
national organization like Brady, we have chapters all over the country. We are working on bills everywhere. So we don't have the resources, honestly, we don't have staff in every single state. So using Call Hub has definitely been really helpful for us to engage with people where we don't have people.
Okay, fair enough. Now, just to touch a little bit on your own personal experience, I have found when we work with clients, a lot of people think text messages, they instantly go to like the presidential campaign. So they're thinking like, whatever, text so and so to donate $5 to Bernie Sanders or something like that, which is what a lot of them have mostly heard of it. But obviously, Brady is operating on what can often be a very local issue. Like, yes, I mean, the president will comment on gun violence, but usually it is more of that particular area or that particular people. So, like in your experience, when you've been working with Brady, like does text messaging work better in like smaller communities as such when it's not just like a national campaign, but let's say it's a town or a small town wants to change its policy or maybe even a state or a district? Do text messaging work better in a smaller community?
I definitely think so, especially because whenever we send out text messages that are specifically for something like the assault weapons ban, or the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, those specific Congress level ask, a lot of people feel like their voice is not as meaningful as I would tell them that, this is happening in your state legislature or your city council is doing this. That gives them more a sense of urgency that they need to take action because it's right in their backyard that this stuff is happening. And it's definitely a tool that we have used a lot because, like I said, we don't have people everywhere, especially in those small towns.
Uh, and do you feel like, is text messaging, like in your experience, has it been more about like just informing people, or do people actually change their minds based on like the text that they get? Like, has there been like great success stories as such, or it's just pretty much informative?
Yeah, so here at Brady, we don't send a lot of text messages to people who are on an opposing side.
Okay.
There have only been, a few text messages that have come through that are someone who might have had a wrong number in our file that we send them a text message. And we have had good conversations with some of those people as well. But for the most part, we like to target our list to where we are specifically targeting people that are very likely to pick up the phone and call their senator or go to their state capitol and lobby.
Yeah, I hope not a lot of rude messages. I can kind of imagine the message that would come if they didn't want to get it. But yeah, so in basically what we, it would be good to say that, let's say texting is good for organizing like events or campaigns. Like if I want like 1,000 people to show up at a state capitol and like picket, for example, like texting works very well there.
Yes, definitely. We also utilize our mobilized links within our text messages a lot, which is basically just our event platform that we use to put all of our events. If you want to check it out, it's just bradyunited.org/events, and you can kind of see the events we have on there. And like I said, we can use Call Hub to encourage people to sign up for those events, to send people reminders that they're happening, also to just inform people that they happened, what occurred there, and changes that we've been able to make.
Oh, okay. Hello? Sorry, I seem to have been disconnected for a minute. Uh, yeah, sorry. What I was saying is like to expand a little beyond text messaging as such, because Brady is such a, I suppose it's a volunteer driven organization. You really depend on the volunteers to do things and to motivate people to come and make a change. Like, what do you think in terms of, or at least what have you found in Brady? What are like volunteer best practices? What brings out like the most number of people?
I think it definitely depends on the event, but I love when we host events with special speakers, and a lot of times our chapters will get their governor come out, or maybe their city council members, and they will host events for them to talk about ending gun violence and maybe some things that they're doing, and then we
Hmm.
can use CallHub to target that, like I said, within like that 50 miles radius of that city of where the event is going to be, and let people in that area know that we're having this event, because a lot of times it's hard to connect with people. I can definitely send out a mass email, but a lot of people don't open up their emails,
Hmm.
and especially when it looks kind of like a spam email that's going out to a lot of people. But I'm looking at my phone way too many times a day. So I see those text messages come through. And if there's an event that's happening, within 20 minutes of me, I might be interested in attending.
Ah, I mean, on an interesting side note, is it easier to get volunteers or is it easier to get like people to vote to like make a change? Like, what do you find more of people who want to sign up to work for you, or people who are like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to volunteer, but I will vote the way that perhaps to like bring change in like gun legislation.
That is a great question. We have all sorts of different types of volunteers at Brady. We have the people who are our policy wonks. They want to go lobby, they want to go testify. We also have our volunteers that want to attend a rally or protest, or maybe join us on one of our Zoom meetings every once in a while. And we try to cater to those different types of volunteers, because I understand that some of my volunteers are retired and they have 20 hours a week that they might want to volunteer with us. We also have some volunteers that are full time students and also working two jobs. Maybe they can only give me an hour of their time every week. So, definitely giving them a menu of options of things that they can do to volunteer with us has been incredibly important. And of course, building those chapters within communities across the country so that we have a strong chapter leader there that can help them with those opportunities and let them know what is at stake, and to really let them know all the different things that they can be doing. It could be lobbying, testifying, all sorts of things.
Ah, nice. Just a couple of more questions. One, that's actually an interesting question. Which is like, you mentioned like you send out those text messages. Sometimes it goes to the wrong number and you get your hate messages. But interestingly, how do you build your text message lists? Like how do you make a good list?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so there are a lot of different ways that you can do it. We use, like I said, every action a lot. And if you can really tailor them to specific areas, for Brady, let me make sure I'm answering the question right. Yeah, so for Brady, a lot of our lists come from people who've already signed up. But if you're from an organization that maybe doesn't have that base where you're having people sign up, you could also look into purchasing a list. There are a lot of organizations that sell lists out there that you might be able to get. Sometimes it's like 5%, not 5%, 5 cents per contact, and you can definitely look into to buying those. But for Brady, we found it more successful to build out those list ourselves from our websites, from events. If people have signed up to any of our events across the country, we have those numbers within our list that we can pull from later on. And I see this follow up here. Do you have examples of how you created that list of signups? So I think the question is how we created the list of signups. Oh, through the website. Yes, that is exactly. We have a page on our website. It's just bradyunited.org/act if you want to take a look at it. And it is integrated into Every Action, which is our platform where we we hold all of those contacts in as well. We also utilize Mobilize, which is our events platform, and anyone who signs up for our events can get integrated into every action as well. So we're building that list that way. We also add people on it manually as well. So if people sign up to join one of our chapters, or maybe they contacted us, we have a page on our website where we ask people to email us. It's chapters@bradyunited.org. If they give us an email, we get their information. We might add it to that list as well. But I would say that the biggest way that we've made this list is through our website, and it's been within the last few years as well.
Okay. I think we'll take
Oh,
one last question because
another
I
thing, I just want to add one
oh,
more thing to that as
yes, yes.
well. Another thing that we've used to really create the list and target, a lot of times we only target people who have been active or maybe joined us or signed up on our website within the last 6 months. We definitely have all the people who have signed up probably for Brady in the last 10 years or so. You have all that information. But if I'm reaching out to people who signed up 10 years ago, it may not be as beneficial as reaching out to someone who joined or signed up in the last 6 months. So that is just one other way that you might want to think about targeting.
Ah, and yeah, I mean, this was a technical question which I thought was interesting in the sense that when it comes to like standard emails versus text, because you had mentioned emails, like is it that texts have better clicks or better replies or better opens than emails? Is that what you found in your experience?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially when we send mass emails. I don't know about you, but me, I get lots of campaign emails every single day. It's my whole inbox, and I
Yes.
honestly do not open most of those. But I do, like I said, look at my text messages almost every single day. And I don't like saying that I have 400 unread messages. So clicking on those and making sure that I'm at least reading them. And I think that it's a lot more beneficial than the emails just because they are shorter messages most of the time as well. People, they want you to get to the point right away. So if
Ah,
I'm sending an email, I might be saying way too much. But if I am sending a text message, I'm definitely getting to the point. They're responding yes. I'm sending them a link, and I'm really using my resources to give them all the information that I can.
actually, that is an interesting point in the sense that I suppose text messages have to be short by nature. Do you have like some sort of like ideal text message? Like how short should it be? Like when you say short, is it like one sentence, couple of words? Like where do you
Yeah,
think it
I think I wouldn't, I would try not to send text messages that are more than 4 sentences, I think would be the max. So you got your, you have to kind of sandwich it. You got your, here's why we want you to do this, here's how you do it, and kind of like a thank you message as well. So you just kind of got to put it together, then, 3 to 4 sentences or less if possible to keep people engaged. Because if you're not getting to the point, don't want to read all of that.
be? I mean, I'm sure it's not the case in Brady, but generally, as a general opinion, like, is it better to send like more explanatory thing, or like, does shock value really work? Is it like, you want to end gun violence? Like, 21 people have been killed. Are you going to do something about that? Kind of like, do those kind of like very like to the point or sharp messages? Do they do better?
We try not to send a lot of those. It's, a very sensitive subject, and we definitely don't want to try to use the people that have been lost in a lot of our text messages. So we like to keep it kind of broad and talk about, how we've lost a lot of people across the country, but not specifically say, 21 people, or, mention specifically a lot of, we might mention a few, like, there was a big shooting in Buffalo last year, and we did some texts surrounding that, getting people in Buffalo involved. But try to leave it to as least information as possible, honestly, because we just don't want to trigger anyone. We don't know if we might be accidentally sending messages to people who might have lost someone or that kind of thing. So I would, here at Brady, we try not to be super shocking, and a lot of times that turns people off as well.
Hmm,
I have definitely gotten those text messages that are like, Nancy Pelosi needs you to donate $5 now, and those are not, those are not the messages that are going to get me to respond. It's more so the messages of, we can definitely use your help, and
hmm.
here's how you can help us.
Okay. I mean, just to wrap it up on what I hope is a slightly positive note. So, how is things looking from like Brady's perspective? You feel like change is coming. You feel like people are trying to do something about this.
Yes, I do. We've really had a lot of incredible wins within the past year and even in the past few months. Like I said, we had the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act that passed in Congress last year. We did that with the help of 15 Republican senators. We've also won the Office of Gun Violence Prevention that is now in the White House, that we have some incredible leaders that are within that. And that was an initiative that Brady was one of the first organizations that was fighting for, because we know that we need some experts in the White House that are focusing on this issue. We also have been helping pass bills all across the country. One of those bills was a bill in California where it's now the law that if that school districts have to send something home at the beginning of the school year talking about safe storage to parents. So that might help save lives as well. We also have an incredible Ask Day program where we're encouraging more parents to ask those questions. And we've passed proclamations and legislators all over the country making Ask Day an official day. It's the first day of summer. Every single summer, it's June 21st, because we know more parents are sending their kids to babysitters and to their friend's house because school's out for the summer. So we want to encourage those conversations. And Ask Day is now an official day in lots of states. We actually passed a proclamation in Nashville a few months ago, and
Mm.
we are hoping to do that kind of thing in more cities across the country. And we have lots of bills that we are fighting in places like Wisconsin, Michigan, New Jersey. California has lots all the time and different places, but I definitely see that it's moving, and I try to be hopeful and celebrate all of the wins that we see all across the country. And there are several that have happened in the past year.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I mean, we do need change, so it's nice to see that change is coming. Anyway, we can pretty much wrap this up. For those who have further questions or any follow-ups, please send us an email, and we will get back to you about either this chat or anything in this webinar, or even if you want more information about like the work that Brady does or the work that Rachel is doing, do send us an email. We'll find out. And Rachel, thank you so much for speaking with us and sharing this information. It was quite interesting, and I'm glad to hear about all the achievements of Brady as such. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.